Nestled in the quiet town of Santa Claus, Indiana, there's a place that promises joy year-round. Santa Claus Land opened in 1946, a world of elves, reindeer, and the towering figure of Santa himself. Children laughed, parents marveled, summer afternoons smelled of pine and candy canes. And for a moment, magic felt real, even in the summer. But time changes everything, doesn't it? By the 1980s, the park had grown, evolved into holiday world, Halloween thrills, patriotic pageantry, Thanksgiving warmth, and rides. Legendary wooden coasters that twist, drop, and soar through the forest like wild spirits. The Raven, the Legend, the Voyage, names that would draw thrill seekers from around the world. Yet, even paradise has its shadows. Over the years, the park has seen tragic accidents. Guests injured, water rides malfunctioning, and fatalities on some of its tallest coasters. Moments when the laughter stopped. Moments when the magic turned deadly. This is Death Kiss Traveler, the podcast that dives deep into history, horror, and hauntings at amusement parks. I'm Marissa, your morbidly curious host. Thank you for listening. Follow me at Death Kiss Traveler Podcast on TikTok, Instagram, or even Facebook. Make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button. I am bringing you new episodes every Friday. And starting next year, I am going to be on YouTube, not only in audio, but in video. So get excited for that, I am. You were supposed to have an episode out on Friday, the day after Christmas, and I ran into some horrible technical issues. The sound was absolutely awful the day I went to put it out, so I had to record it over the weekend and then quickly edit it and get it out to you. So normally, yes, episodes are on Friday. This week you are going to have 2 episodes on Tuesday and on Friday. I hope you have a little holiday spirit left in you, because what better way to celebrate Christmas than on my podcast and do a whole episode on a park named after the jolly man himself. This is the full ride. Welcome to Santa Claus Land. Long before coasters and water slides, there was a small Indiana town with a very big name, Santa Claus. And yet, despite its festive name, kids who visited in the 1930s were very disappointed. There was nothing, no Santa, no elves, no candy cane streets, just a dusty little town with big expectations. Picture this, a quiet Indiana town called Santa Claus, 1935. The Great Depression still lingers, but one man, Milton Harris, spots an opportunity. He leases acres of farmland, cuts a deal with a major candy company, the Curtis Candy Company, marking the very first major holiday-themed attraction in Santa Claus, Indiana. Milton Harris built a real-life candy castle. He imagines a magical Christmas village. Toys, sweets, mail-order gifts sent from the official Santa town. He calls it Santa Claus Town. If you were him, or if you were a kid, that might sound like magic. But not everyone agreed. Enter Carl Barrett, a Chicago businessman and president of the Illinois Auto Club. Barrett didn't see Harris's candy shops and toy stores as Christmas spirit. He saw them as a crass, materialistic cheapening of Old St. Nick. He believed Santa deserved monument, not merchandise, so he bought land, the same land Harris had leased, and rushed to erect the biggest Santa statue anyone had ever seen. 22 feet tall, dedicated on Christmas Day, 1935, on a hill overlooking the town. He claimed it was carved from solid granite, blessed by a fallen meteor, the stuff of legend. That year, 2 Christmas parks opened in a town of fewer than 100 people. Double the Santas, double the promise, but also double the rivalry. Lawsuits flew almost immediately. Harris sued Barrett for violating his exclusive Santa business lease. Barrett countersued, claiming Harris's corporate name was too similar to his own. And the battle dragged on from county courts all the way to the Indiana Supreme Court. Newspapers across the country followed under the headline, "Too Many Santas." For years, it was Christmas in courtroom instead of Santa Claus Land. In 1935, Harris claimed Barrett is violating his exclusive lease. He argues that he has the right to operate any and all businesses having any relationship to the Santa Claus idea on that land. Essentially, he says, you can't swoop in and steal my Santa Claus magic. But Barrett countersues. Barrett claims Harris's corporate name is too close to his own, and that Harris is overreaching. He fames his project as the pure Santa spirit, criticizing Harris's candy toy commercialization. And in his words, "My Santa is the real Santa. Your castle is just candy." Early rulings temporarily blocked Barrett from building his park. Barrett appeals, and the case escalates over several years. And that's basically it. A multi-year, high-stakes Santa showdown in the courts of Indiana. The lawsuits drained resources, stalled construction, and left both parks vulnerable to the coming war and economic trouble. By the early 1940s, both Santa Claus Town and Santa Claus Park had mostly collapsed, leaving only a cracked statue and a castle as reminders of what might have been. In 1940, the state's highest court ruled both men could keep their Santa ventures. The injunction was lifted. Barrett could build Santa Claus Park, but the legal costs and the national spotlight and the encroaching storms of war had drained his momentum. Unfortunately, by the 1940s, both parks were crumbling. The Candy Castle closed, the giant statue cracked, and concrete exposed its secrets. Toy shops, miniature villages, dream workshops, they all faded away. And yet, from their ashes rose something new. In 1946, a different kind of Santa visionary, a retired factory owner named Louis J. Koch arrived. A retiree, a father of 9, who thought, wait a minute, this town is called Santa Claus. Why isn't there magic year-round? Inspired by childhood wonder, he set out to create a place where Christmas wasn't just one day on the calendar. It was an experience you could live any day of the year. And so in 1946, Santa Claus Land was born. He didn't want lawsuits or giant statues. He wanted a place where kids could simply be kids. Enjoy rides, meet Santa, and feel the Christmas spirit. That place became Santa Claus Land, and later, Holiday World. On August 3, 1946, in the humid Indiana summer, the gates creaked open for something the country had never seen before. Santa Claus Land, the world's first theme park built around a single character. What people expected was a roadside Christmas village. What they got was something completely different. Families would pull off Highway 245 and step into a world dripping with nostalgia. The smell of pine, pitch, peppermint sticks, and fried dough drifting over gravel paths. A brass band played carols in August, and nobody questioned it. Santa himself was the centerpiece, not a guy in a seasonal mall suit, but a fully dedicated year-round Santa who lived and breathed the role. Kids swore he knew their names before they even reached him. Parents whispered that the character work bordered on supernatural. The first attractions in Santa Claus Land didn't open with massive coasters or state-of-the-art animatronics. It opened with charm and a surprising amount of ambition. There was Toyland, a walk-through wonderland filled with oversized wooden blocks, dolls, and fairy tale figurines. It was whimsical during the day and slightly uncanny at dusk, when painted eyes caught the golden light. Next, there was Santa's house and workshop. Part show, part meet and greet, part mystique. Children peeked through the frosted windows to see elves hammering away at the toys. Grown adults hired to stay in character 100% of the time. Visitors said the illusion was so convincing that kids left believing they had seen the real North Pole. Then there was Mother Goose Land, a charming but slightly surreal zone populated with giant nursery rhyme sculptures. Humpty Dumpty towered over guests like cracked porcelain guardians. Velveteen rabbits, crooked houses, and a giant shoe added to the dreamlike vibe. And last, there was the Santa Claus Zoo, a petting zoo filled with goats, deer, donkeys, and later reindeer. Because if you're going to convince people that Santa is real, you must have reindeer. There was rides for the little ones, and instead of thrill rides, the park debuted with gentle attractions, a tiny Christmas train that circled the grounds, a children's boat ride, and a miniature car ride on a paved track, particularly high-tech for 1946. It wasn't meant to excite teenagers. These were designed to make small children feel like the park was built for them and no one else. On opening day by noon, cars were lined up for miles. The gift shops ran out of candy canes. The reindeer got spooked by the band, and staff, mostly townsfolk, struggled to keep up with the flood of families who had been starved for a little joy after the war years. But it worked. By sundown, it was official. Santa Claus Land wasn't a gimmick, it was an experience. Parents left feeling like they'd given their kids a piece of magic. Kids left absolutely convinced that the North Pole was in Indiana. By the late 1970s, Santa Claus Land was still charming. But charm wasn't enough anymore. The world had changed, Disneyland had opened, Six Flags parks were rising across the country, and families were no longer satisfied with a single land of Christmas nostalgia. They wanted thrills, bigger shows, bigger rides, something that felt modern. Inside the Koch family, the owners and operators, a quiet debate began. Could Santa Claus Land survive the future, or would it have to evolve? The turning point was when Will Koch, the next generation of the family, returned home from college in the early 1980s. He saw the writing on the wall. Attendance was leveling out. The park's Christmas-only theme was starting to feel frozen in time, and not in the magical way. He had a bold proposal. Why not celebrate all of the holidays? It was risky. The park had been built entirely on the Christmas identity for nearly 40 years. Changing the name almost felt sacrilegious. But the idea carried something Santa Claus Land desperately needed: longevity. Holiday World is born in 1984. On a warm July day, the park unveiled its new identity: Holiday World. Gone was the old singular theme. In its place stood a park divided into immersive seasonal realms. Halloween, my favorite. Cobweb-covered facades, pumpkin-headed statues, spooky but family-friendly rides. Then there's Thanksgiving, colonial buildings, harvest decor, and later some of the park's biggest coasters. Can't forget about the 4th of July, patriotic colors, American food, and lively entertainment. And of course, Christmas, preserved and updated in the heart of the original park, still ruled by the big man himself. It wasn't just a rebrand, it was a rebirth. Growth pains and breakthroughs. Old-timers complained, of course. Some worried that the Christmas magic would fade. Traditionalists feared the park was selling out. But the changes worked, and attendance started climbing. The new land opened creative doors the park had never had before. Holiday World didn't erase Santa Claus. It built around it. Christmas remained the soul, but now it had siblings. Eerie Halloween vibes, patriotic summer energy, warm Thanksgiving nostalgia. The Koch family took a single holiday and turned it into a universe. I absolutely love this. And that bold decision is the reason the park didn't fade away like so many mid-century roadside attractions. A podcast for another time, because there's so many and we never heard about them. The Raven opened in 1995, the gamble that paid off. When the park announced the Raven, people were confused. a wooden coaster in a small family-owned park in southern Indiana? But Will Koch saw something nobody else did: potential. And Holiday World partnered with Custom Coasters International, one of the rising stars of the wooden coaster world. They chose the perfect patch of forested land behind the park, letting the natural terrain become part of the ride. What debuted in 1995 was nothing short of a phenomenon. Dramatic drops hidden thick in the trees. It had wild, swooping curves, and a finale that skimmed across Lake Rudolph at dusk. Coaster enthusiasts flocked to it, and year after year, the Raven won Best Wooden Roller Coaster Awards. The tiny Christmas park had just announced itself on the international coaster map. Then they built the legend in 2000. A bolder, darker thrill. With the Raven's success, Holiday World realized something. Thrills don't break the Christmas magic. They enhanced it. So 5 years later, they pushed further. The legend, inspired by the legend of Sleepy Hollow, opened in 2000. This time the park went bigger, wilder, and darker. Sounds like the perfect ride. It had a massive spiraling first drop. Rapid lateral forces meant to replicate a midnight horse chase. This coaster wasn't family-friendly. It was intense. Almost shockingly so for a park best known for candy canes and Santa photos. But once again, it worked. Holiday World became the Midwest destination for wooden thrill rides. And so they kept going. And in 2006, one of the best wooden roller coasters ever built was born. The Voyage. It was a masterpiece. For the park's 60th anniversary, Will Koch wanted something legendary. A coaster that would redefine wooden engineering. The coaster was built by the Gravity Group, and it was colossal. Over 6,400 feet of track, and included a record-breaking number of airtime moments when you lift out of your seat a little. The coaster has a triple down drop underground. Fans and coaster experts around the world proclaimed it one of the greatest wooden coasters ever designed. Once their wooden coaster legacy was secured, Holiday World expanded into Splash and Safari, bringing in a massive water park, which included massive water coasters. The Wild Beast, opened in 2010, was a powered uphill water coaster. Mammoth in 2012 was the world's longest water coaster. And the Cheetah Chase in 2020 was the world's first launched water coaster. Suddenly, the park had not only the best wooden coasters, but the best water coasters on Earth. Holiday World had evolved. It kept its homegrown, family-run soul, but added world-class engineering on top of it. The transformation wasn't accidental, it was a philosophy. Give families a reason to stay all day and come back every year. End quote. The rides didn't replace the Christmas charm. They became its counterweight. Nostalgia in the front of the park, thundering coasters in the back. And together they turned that humble Christmas village into a globally recognized amusement destination. As beloved as Holiday World has been for bringing joy to families for decades, its history is not without sorrow. Even the happiest places can have somber moments. And Holiday World's story has a few that reveal how fragile even the best parks can be. In 2003, there was an accident on the Raven. The Raven has long been celebrated as one of the park's crown jewels. Its wooden structures twist and turn through the forest, delivering moments of weightlessness, adrenaline, and pure thrill. For coaster enthusiasts, it's a dream. But on May 31st, 2003, that thrill turned into tragedy. It was a spring day and the crowd's eager for adventure. A 32-year-old woman, Tamar Fellner, boarded the Raven for what should have been a routine ride. She was seated in the back row, in the last car, the spot famed for delivering the most intense airtime. This was her second time riding the Raven that day. Witnesses later recalled seeing something unsettling. Somewhere along the track, shortly before the ride's fifth drop, a nearly 70-foot plunge Tamar was standing up in the car, or at least attempting to shift from her seat. The ride descended, the forces of gravity pulling with relentless speed, and she was ejected from the train, falling onto the track below. Park staff, guests, and even a doctor who happened to be nearby rushed to her aid. CPR was attempted at the scene, and she was transported to a nearby hospital, but the injuries were too severe. She was pronounced dead en route. State inspectors and independent engineers immediately closed the ride and conducted a thorough inspection. The conclusion was clear. There was no mechanical failure. Restraints and seatbelts were functioning as designed. The fatality was ultimately ruled an accident, a tragic combination of human error and the intense forces generated by a world-class roller coaster. A wrongful death lawsuit followed, filed by Tamar's family against Holiday World and the ride manufacturer. It was settled out of court in 2007 with details that remain confidential. This incident became the only fatality on the Raven, but its impact reverberates. It serves as a chilling reminder. Even the most carefully maintained rides, inspected and regulated, cannot eliminate the risk that comes with human behavior. A single moment of inattention, a lapse in judgment can transform exhilaration into catastrophe. For those who ride the Raven today, the experience remains pure adrenaline. But the story of May 31st, 2003 lingers in the shadows of the tracks, a somber echo of how joy and danger often ride side by side. And nearly 2 decades later, another fatality occurred on Holiday World's massive wooden coaster, the Voyage, one of the longest and most intense wooden coasters in the world. On June 4th, 2021, 47-year-old Don Jankovic was found unresponsive after a ride and died later that night at a local hospital. An autopsy revealed severe internal injuries from a torn artery likely caused by the G-forces of the ride. Authorities stressed that there was no mechanical malfunction and the coaster was operating normally when she rode. Holiday World closed the coaster for a day out of respect, and again, this was officially classified as an accidental death rather than negligence. Some other serious incidents in Holiday World's records are in 2006, a 20-year-old park supervisor died in a groundskeeping accident involving a lawnmower. And on July 4th, 2007, a woman collapsed and died near a wave pool in the water park portion. Health officials later said she had an underlying heart disease. In the summer of 2009, Holiday World's water park, Splash and Safari, experienced another serious safety incident on the Bahari River. It was a lazy river attraction. On June 20th, a filter pump malfunctioned, causing a surge of highly concentrated pool chemicals, including liquid bleach and muriatic acid, or hydrochloric acid, to be introduced into the water. This created noxious fumes that affected people in and around the ride. Because of the fumes, dozens of people, around 42 guests and employees, experienced trouble breathing, nausea, and irritation. Lifeguards and the park staff evacuated the ride. They administered oxygen on site, and about 24 people were taken by ambulance to the hospital for observation, while others sought treatment on their own. Everyone was treated and released with no long-term effects reported. Park officials later concluded that the malfunction involved the interlock safety system, which is supposed to prevent chemicals from being fed into the water when the pump isn't running at all. But that system didn't work properly in this case, allowing all of the chemical surge to happen when the pump was restarted. The park fixed the issue and the ride reopened the next day. And in June of 2021, another guest was airlifted with a reported back injury after riding a water attraction. The park inspected and reopened the ride once it was confirmed to be working normally. These incidents are a reminder that amusement parks, even the ones with strong safety records, face real risks because they push physics and excitement to the edge. Some of these tragedies have led to lawsuits or public scrutiny, especially when deaths occurred on rides beloved by enthusiasts. Will Koch was the man behind Holiday World's coasters. He passed away in 2010. And since then, staff and visitors have claimed shadows moving along ride catwalks, sensors activating with no one present, a fleeting figure near the Voyage ride station. Maybe he's just there, still watching over his creations. Some superfans whisper that Holiday World was originally supposed to have 5 holiday sections instead of 4. The abandoned 5th holiday was rumored to be Easter or Valentine's Day. Nobody knows for sure if it existed. Its remains are said to be buried beneath Splash and Safari. And for years, there have been rumors of a 5th holiday added. But I cannot confirm any of these rumors, and as far as I can see, there is nothing planned in the future. These legends add a mysterious, slightly eerie layer to a park otherwise known for family fun and thrill rides. They're a reminder that every corner of Holiday World, from the oldest Christmas buildings to the newest coasters, carry the stories people tell when the lights are low and the rides are quiet. From the cheerful streets of Santa Claus Land to the thunderous wooden coasters of Holiday World, this park has always been more than just rides and attractions. It's a place where childhood wonder collides with human ambition, where joy and tragedy exist side by side. For decades, families have laughed on its gentle rides, screamed on its world-class coasters, and wandered through lands designed to capture the spirit of the holidays, all while whispers of the past linger just out of sight. The stories of accidents, near misses, and unexplained shadows remind us that even the happiest places have their dark corners. So the next time you step into a theme park or hear the roar of a coaster slicing through the forest, remember this. Somewhere behind the laughter, behind the lights and music, the magic and the mystery never really leaves. Holiday World is still there, the rides still run, the lights still glow, and somewhere perhaps, the past is still watching. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. I have some big goals for 2026. I'm so excited to share them with you and grow this podcast. Thank you so much for that support. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give me a 5-star rating wherever you are listening. Hit that follow or subscribe button. I appreciate the support. This podcast is written by me, Marissa. Produced by Sunkissed Traveler, the travel agency that takes stress out of planning a vacation. A Caribbean cruise, a Mexico resort, or how about Holiday World? No matter where you want to go, Sunkissed Traveler can help. See show notes for details or visit sun-kissedtraveler.com. I will see you on Friday. Happy New Year.